What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another video. My name is Frank Couture. I'm a guitar player based in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Today we're talking about this. No, I didn't do that right. Okay, there we go. Today we're talking about this beautiful, beautiful guitar, and I'm quite frankly very impressed with it. Not expecting. I was not expecting this. I was really not. So let's chat a little bit about this. Okay, so what you just heard was the PRS Silver Sky. This is a core model, and this is the faded black T. I am playing it through my quad cortex, going to the Apollo interface, and yeah, I was actually not expecting to feel like I feel towards this guitar. My general take on Silver Skies has always been kind of weird in terms of like, I'm usually not a huge fan of something like the 7.5-inch radius, and I'm a fan of Strats. I'm just a fan of more modern Strats. But I'm mainly a Strat guy myself, so I was really excited to get this one on the channel. I've played a couple of the core models in the past. I've mainly played a lot of the SE Silver Skies, and the SE definitely feels very different than this one. Though they're supposed to have the same neck, to me they just feel completely different neck shapes, profiles. There's something about them that's just very different. Let's talk about the specs on this thing. We've got a maple neck, maple fingerboard, like I said, 7.5-inch radius, so pretty much like a vintage Strat. PRS pickups, these are the 63.5 JM, JM standing for John Mayer, and 63 standing as, hopefully you might have caught on at this point, but they're based out of pretty much a 63 set of pickups from a Strat, right? Pretty much out of like the Blackie that he used to play, right? And a 5-way, I mean, pretty standard for an S-style guitar, volume, tone. We've got 4 springs in the back. What I think is really cool, particularly on this, is how they grounded the guitar. I know it's kind of like an odd thing to pick at, but it's grounded here in the claw, which I think is really freaking interesting. One thing that I actually really like about it is that it doesn't have the holes for the cover here in the back. I always take that off on all my Strats, and that's one thing that I think all guitars should not necessarily come with. That's just me, though. This one's pretty much set up to where like it's not floating or anything. That's one thing that I don't know. I'm not setting it, up to how I normally use it, but I don't normally use them decked out like this. Though I will say I think this is one of the main reasons on why the guitar feels the way it does, which is not a bad thing because it's really resonant. Might be wrong. This might be something that I might have to try later on in the future with another one whenever I get my chance to play another one of these more like this. Because I'm not sure how much the like the bridge being, pretty much all the way back down might make a difference of like actually floating it a little bit. Usually I set them up to where, let me just pull up the, usually I set them up to where like It's pretty flush in the body, and like you can't pull back much, but it's floating just a little bit to where like it's not completely back, so I can, you know, use the tremolo a little bit more. Again, that's just how I normally set them up. But let's hear the guitar a little bit more, and then kind of like just talk a little bit more about it. So okay, like I said, this is pretty much based out of John Mayer's 60s Strat, and I'm actually gonna flex a little bit and put a photo here of me holding not John Mayer's 60s Strat, but holding Paul's 60s Strat, which I mean is really cool because I got to compare his Strat, his personal 60s Strat, to one of these, and that kind of like inspired me to try to get to make this video. And I mean I don't own a 60s Strat. I've played some, but I will compare it to my Custom Shop Strat, which is supposed to be based out of a 60s Strat in terms of like the pickups. I did swap out the bridge for a humbucker. There's a Sur Thornbucker in there. I can't stand single coil pickups in the bridge unless it's a telly. I'm not a fan of the Strat pickup in the bridge, and I'm not a fan of it on this one either, just because I don't like them. There's something about them that I've tried it for many years, and I was like, I'll try it with this one, and then I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, I'll just go to what I normally do, which is a humbucker. This is my favorite combination of pickups. If I ever owned one of these, quite frankly, I would definitely put a humbucker on it. That's the one thing that I always do. I love that fourth position, like those two pickups standing together. You can get somewhere really close with this kind of combination. That's just my take on it. Though I know that the purists will say that you can never really replicate the having two single coil pickups like that. That's just me. I know it's not really going to be kind of like a apples to apples comparison because they are pretty different in terms of like, I mean, pretty much all the important aspects, considering that this is a rosewood fingerboard, this is a maple. Pickups are Fender's Custom Shop 60s pickups, so at least the neck and the middle, which are the ones that I'm mainly going to compare, because like I said, I don't normally play in the bridge position unless it's a humbucker, but I'll compare them a little bit just so you can kind of like hear what the PRS Core pickups on a SilverSky sound like against something like a Fender Custom Shop 60s pickup set. Just because I mean, I think it'll be an interesting comparison for sure. This guitar is fairly different though. Like I said, radius is actually 11 inches, which I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite guitars that I've owned and ever played, and it looks badass. But like I said, this is what we're talking about today, and I actually really like this, though I was not expecting to, particularly like I said, because of the radius. I am normally not a 7.5-inch radius guy. There's a couple of things that I really do like on this though, and I'll start by saying this, like the actual cover for the truss rod might just be one of the coolest truss rod covers on a kind of like a factory made guitar. And by mass produced, I mean pretty much readily available. Even though it's made here in the US in the PRS factory, they make quite a lot of these because they sell a lot of these. Anyways, let's compare them a little bit and kind of come back to it. Okay, so that was it for this video. This is obviously kind of like Paul's take on what an S-style guitar should be, right? Particularly something like John Mayer's guitar. And it's really, really cool and really darn close to the actual thing. And I've played it against actual 60s guitars, and the neck compares very well to like an actual 60s Fender Strat. Obviously, it's not a Strat. There's a lot of different key points that make it, very different in general. I think it's a really cool take, man. I'm normally a Strat guy. Like I like S-style guitars. I've got, you know, a couple different ones. Well, obviously this ain't a, you know, Strat. It's got the soul of one, and I've got a couple of other ones that are, you know, pretty much along the lines of. And I mean, I'm very used to like the whole, you know, double cut type thing. This is really comfortable on a Strat, like having that extra access to the neck. I mean, I can make it to the 22nd fret very comfortably without even having to get up on the actual body of the guitar, which is really cool. The covers actually, actually impressed me. The little covers over here for the pickups and the pots feel great, which is a really big thing. I like to do swells, and just being able to like go back and forth, I think is really cool. I mean, every component on it feels really good quality. I like it a lot. I think, honestly, I was not expecting to like it. Like I said, I don't like the SE model of this guitar. There's something about the neck on those that I don't mesh with a lot. And I like PRS SE models. I've got a Sac Myers that I really like. It's just a SilverSky SE model for some reason I don't like. This one feels great though. I will say that. If you have experiences with the SilverSky, if you've had the SilverSky for a while and like it more than your Fender, I'd love to actually read what other people have to say about it. I think it's a really cool guitar. Would definitely love to hear more of like what other people think about these guitars. I do like the finishes that they've been putting out. While this is not the finish that I would normally personally go for, the one that I like is a Desert Sand Mock or whatever it's named. That one's the one that I would go for if I were to ever get one of these. I think the satin thing is really, really freaking cool. That's not, I mean, obviously there are a lot of satin guitars, but on a Strat-style guitar, that's not super common, I think. Looks really cool. The outlines of the birds, obviously. Anyways, if you have any questions, drop them down below. Subscribe, like, comment, all that kind of stuff. It actually helps out more than you think. And hopefully you'll come through for the next video and we can continue the conversation there. But if you have any experiences with these SilverSkys, I would love to read what you guys think.